What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Yokai Delinquents podcast. I am Sean Bearded Cappolitin,
And I'm Jerry Robo Tengu Smith.
and we just
And
oh, go ahead, go ahead. Already see this
this is
professionalism.
we planned all of
Oh,
this.
yeah, yeah, totally
Um,
rehearsed.
yeah. No, I was just gonna say, how you doing this week? You hanging in there?
I think we're all just barely hanging in by a thread these days, and
Uh, yeah,
everyone, we all got our issues, we all got stuff in our personal lives, but hopefully what me and Jerry here want to bring to y'all, good listeners out
hmm
there, is maybe just a little hiatus from the BS of life and listen to our
yeah,
BS about our
yeah,
lives,
yeah,
typically, and whatever's on our minds at the moment. But
yeah.
yeah, that's thank you again for tuning in. If you haven't already,
hmm
please subscribe so you can keep seeing the content as we release it, as well as some of my older videos. Hopefully, maybe Jerry might start making some of his own. Y'all need to push him in that direction. And thumbs up on the videos, and sharing, of course, is always the biggest thing. Sharing to all your friends, even if you don't. Granted, if you're not listening, you won't hear this message, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Even if you can't listen to all of our videos, which we get it, people are busy, you got your lives going on. Share the videos. Maybe you got friends with more free time than you do, and they might like to hear us ramble on about anime and boobs and shit or whatever else we're going to be talking about. And as always, we love the comments. I try to get back on every comment people drop. I love talking to y'all. So yeah, well that's enough of the good old beginning stuff that we always got to do. Jerry,
Yes.
Jerry,
I so something was released this week,
yeah,
and I didn't get to play it until a little later in the week, but I had a lot of fun with it.
uh huh,
Continuing to have fun. The Was it an add-on? I guess is what you would call it. Ghost of Tsushima Legends came out this week, right?
oh, okay, okay,
So, if you know the story of Ghost of Tsushima, it's essentially about a um, character, Jin Sakai, and his whole journey with getting the Mongolian, or it's during the Mongolian invasion
right,
of
right,
the island of Tsushima, that's like off of the mainland, or it's like not attached to the mainland of Japan, and that's essentially where Mongolians started their invasion. And the story just takes place with Jin kind of going down this dark path to rid their island of Mongolians and stuff. It's kind of like the coming of the ninja or whatever, because none of that existed at this
right,
time.
right.
So
And that's sorry to jump in, but yeah, that's
no,
I actually never knew the plot because I'm that one person
Mhm.
in the entire world that hasn't played Ghost of Tsushima, and I knew it was
Right.
all Japan setting and everything. I didn't know it was the actual Mongol
Yeah.
invasion. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was really well done. Probably one of my favorite games that I've played in a long, long time. So Legends, I was kind of like didn't really know what Legends was going to be. I just knew that it was like a multiplayer system in Ghost of Tsushima. So essentially, how it takes place is they are when the Mongolians attacked, they stirred up a bunch of Oni, and it's something to do with the Oni are the ones that are attacking in the spirit world or whatever, right?
Right.
So the legends are different warriors from the legends. They don't really give them names. They're just like classes essentially. So you have the samurai, the hunter, the ronin, and then the assassin that you pick from. And each one has a little bit of a play difference, but you can play them technically however you want. They just have their like stronger points. So like the samurai, it's like more like a little bit more tanky. Like he wears armor and stuff like that, and he hits really hard and has a special where he absorbs health. The hunter, of course, excels in ranged combat.
Okay.
The Ronin is really good at offense. He has like a little spirit dog, and surprisingly, the Ronin does like healing, like lots of heals and stuff for his. And he has like a one of his specials is like resurrecting people, and you can like get buffs to that. And then of course the assassin's all like stealth and everything.
Right.
Um, so they have two modes for it. They have a little story mode, which is split up into three chaptered nine 3 chapter stories or whatever. So you pick a like a little story, and then you play 9 chapters for it, and then you move on to the next story, and it's all connected. They have more stuff that they're going to add later on, but yeah, John and I played the shit out of it the last few days.
Nice. How
And
does
it,
the so how does it work in multiplayer? Does the gameplay is it still just as smooth?
yeah, no, it feels amazing. Like, and that was like the fun thing about it, because that's sort of like one of the things that I always thought about. I was like, God, these guys are like face to face. So if I try to sneak up on one of them, the other one's going to see me. But
Right.
when me and John were playing, it was like, all right, count of three, like we'll both get them from both angles or whatever. So three, two, one, and then we both just assassinate at the same time.
Right. Right.
So like for the story mode, it's only 2 player, and then they have a survival mode where they have I think it's around 5 different maps, and you go in and you have capture points. You beat up the guys at the capture points, and then as soon as the rounds start, I think it's like 15 rounds. Mongols will invade different areas, and you basically have to go and protect those points.
Okay. So very cool. So
Yeah.
I mean, like
Hmm.
the closest thing I played in kind of the last big open world game has been a very long time since I played any of them, to be honest. But
Hmm.
like was
Hmm.
Red Dead Redemption
Hmm.
way back on PS3, and the additional content was all multiplayer. But like I didn't really care for that stuff very much because all it really was hey, raid this town as a group of bandits and
Hmm.
rob a bank.
Hmm.
But like so, this one's offering a lot more of the multiplayer modes, like you were saying. So that's really
Yeah.
cool. That's good. I think a
Hmm.
good variety to an already really in depth game as it is, right?
Yeah. And I mean, like, the sad part about it is there's no like open world like explore thing in multiplayer, but I mean at the same time you're getting like these really great stories, and there's actually a narrator in it. And the person that does the voiceover for the English narration is Greg Baldwin, the guy who did Iroh's voice in
Oh,
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
right,
So
right.
it's kind of cool. You get this like, and it's like it's pretty dark, because you're sort of in this like weird limbo afterlife type
Hmm.
area,
Right.
and like in between chapters for each story, you take this like hallway or whatever, and the hallway is always like there's fucking blood, like pools of blood everywhere, or like floating hearts that are dripping blood, or like bodies that are on fire like floating in the air and stuff. Like,
Right.
yeah. And the storyteller himself just looks like there's like ink coming like off of his face and just kind of melting down, and it's like pretty gruesome. But
Right. You know what? You mentioned like all these like the legends and like the game features like some like samurai from like the era, either legendary. I don't know if they're all fictitious or just based on real people, right? In the main game.
so essentially how it works, and I haven't actually looked up, because they have a lot of like named people in the main story, but I haven't looked them up to see how legit they are, because they also have a lot of banners for a lot of different houses and stuff
Right.
for samurai. So I haven't looked to see how on the mark those were. But as far as the legends go, I don't think they were based off of anyone in particular. It seems like the theme with them are they are like different aspects of the ghost of Jen's character.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you've got like these different fighting styles as Jin, and they kind of like combine like or split those up into these different characters, and like give you specific strengths for each one.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. What I was thinking, and maybe it was I misunderstood when someone had mentioned the Legends expansion before,
Mm,
because I was getting a very a vibe of like maybe you would see Jubei or some of Miyamoto Masashi into the games,
hmm.
which also directed me into like my mind just how our minds work sometimes. You kind of
Mm-hmm.
go you get one idea that you go off on a tangent like a deep dive into Wikipedia.
Right.
So now picture me selling you
Hmm.
this type of game with the multiplayer, with the story in depth open world, based on the anime Drifters,
Ah,
where you
yeah.
play those different historical figures in an open world game, each with their own fight style and unique and all that kind of stuff, or even like say Kamen Rider Ghost had a different
Right.
thing. But imagine like that.
As long as I get to be pervy Nobunaga Oda
Well,
for Drifters.
of course, you get to be pervy Nobunaga
uh,
Oda.
No, yeah, no, that would be awesome. Like, just like I mean, if just the thought of like drifters as a video game would be so cool. Like, you just kind of pick your warrior that's displaced into this fantasy world.
Right.
It's kind of funny. Have we ever talked about how isekai that show is?
Uh, I mean, I guess technically it's an isekai.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean they are getting brought into another world from a different time.
yeah,
No truck coon bringing someone in or anything. As is the only way you should ever enter an isekai, is being
right.
hit by a truck. But yeah, I guess technically that falls into it. Which shout out to our friend Noel, who really liked from the previous episode where we talked about the new Monster Hunter movie being an isekai. She apparently really liked my line. I don't want my Monster Hunter to be an isekai. But you know what? Yeah, if that's what you got for the game, this is actually a good segue
Yeah.
because it's the fall season,
Hmm.
and that means new anime. And while I'm personally getting a little bored of the isekai genre,
Oh
sometimes
no, he's
some
got a new isekai.
sometimes we get those isekai that was the kids say slap a little harder, a little different. I don't know. I'm trying to be the hip old
It's
man now.
it's straight lit.
Straight lit,
They they,
yo.
they still say that, right?
I don't know. Fuck if I know. I'm old as shit. But like I would say the last one to the top of my head was that time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Hmm.
Which I enjoyed because, granted, most isekai are power fantasies. The average nerdy otaku gets hit by a truck or whatever going into the world, and automatically gets to be like a badass, right?
Hmm.
Where you even like, but yet there's like a little Rise of the Shield Hero, another one. These were ones
Yeah, I
where
was
they're
actually just about to bring that up.
right where those are kind of power fantasies, but they flip it on their head with Slime
Hmm.
really not being an action show, like him kind of reuniting the world, almost like the Civilization games on PC.
Hmm.
Made that one really interesting. And Shield Hero is, hey, I'm the guy from the other world who's a great dude. Oh yeah, well we like these other three better, and fuck you because you're just a Shield guy. Which I think that was a good
Yeah.
turn on the head. Just how negative and
Hmm.
it is, and all that is just to bring you into one of the new shows on this fall season that I'm actually really
Oh boy.
enjoying. It's called I
Hmm.
Stand on a Million Lives. And what
Hmm.
it is a guy who's he's basically he doesn't like city life. He lives in Tokyo as a student. He's just kind of basically just meandering through. He's not really happy with society, and then sadly not by a truck. He just gets ported into a video game realm, kind of in a sense similar to not necessarily Sword Art Online, but like you get some of
Hmm.
the other kind of like he squints, he can see his character sheet basically,
Oh.
and he sees two girls from his school, and they find out that basically as they complete missions, they're allowed to bring in more party members, and it usually has to be somebody you know. So
Oh.
they both kind of knew him, but didn't really know him. He's just like I said, he just kind of exists in the school, and they bring him in, and he gets to spin the wheel with this weird god that has like the top half of his head missing. Other than that, he's a blue naked like Doctor Manhattan guy that that never finishes almost his, never finishes the last word of his sentence. Like he'll greet them like like say Konichi, and then move on to saying hello. Like it's very weird. He got stars over his nipples or hands over his nipples and a big star over his crotch, and he gives them
Oh.
missions. And as they complete missions, they can ask questions, one question each, or each time they complete a mission. But they also level up, and they also spin the wheel of job classes. And so here's where it's standing different. A couple of things
Oh.
is that like the one chick is a wind mage, and one's a fighter, sword type. The fighter is a scared girl. She's not just because she got the fighter class doesn't mean she's brave. And the
Right.
wind mage at level one can only blow out a small gust of wind like a fan would out of her
Oh wow.
staff. He spins the wheel and he gets farmer, and it's one of the rare classes.
What? Really
Yeah,
interesting.
so he has like a hoe, like is like his best weapon, like an old fashioned just a metal piece at the end of a stick garden hoe,
Right.
and they have to go, and their first job is like to wipe out some goblins. And it's not easy when like all one girl's too scared to fight, one girl can only just lightly breeze them in the face, which does nothing, of course. So it's up to the farmer, whose weapons break immediately because they're not meant for combat, and he
Oh
just
no.
like just tries to take them down. And you see the growth of them that way, and like how they like you can see he's all about it because he hates the world in a sense. He hates the modern world, so he's embracing it. But it's like it's not easy for him. And here's the big kicker too. It's that they die easy, low level, like they get hit,
Mm.
and if and they but they can all revive in 30 seconds.
Hmm.
But if all three of the party or however many party members are in there all die, they're dead for real.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
you got like the strategy of like, well, we can keep dying, 'cause we're gonna learn, but like we got to make sure somebody stays alive or we're all fucking dead.
Right.
So it's been a like it's a really interesting thing, and like he gets up to a certain level, he actually gets a second job. I'm not gonna give too much away because honestly, Jerry, I think you'll dig
Okay.
this one.
Yeah, yeah, no, whenever you said he spun the wheel and became a farmer, I was like, how the fuck is that gonna work?
Right. Oh yeah,
So
and it's
I'm
interesting
already
because
pretty
there's
intrigued.
there's still skills that come with the
Hmm.
classes, even though like so there's like the big ones are like fighter, mage, all that kind of stuff. But like he got the rare one of the rare class because like you see the big wheel with the different slices for each class. Then there's one wheel
Hmm.
that's made of like 4 or 5 tiny slices, and he happened to get
Wow.
that one. So,
Wow.
so that one was really interesting. I think for an isekai, which Sword Art Online kicked all that off, and there's been a million. I mentioned some of our
Hmm.
couple of our favorites, Shield Hero and
Right.
Slime, and admittedly, it's kind of a tired genre. Although we did enjoy.
Mm.
Oh crap! What was the Gunpla one? The
Oh, you talk about was it Knights of Magic?
Knights and Magic. That was a really good one
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
because the power of a Gundam fanatic in the
Yeah.
world of steampunk mech suits. So
Yeah.
again, like it's not just because I watched the first season of Sword Art Online and then I lost complete
Mhm.
interest. Did you ever get into that one?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I loved the first season. I was interested in getting to some of the others, but yeah, like I don't know, it just wasn't necessarily the same. I can't remember because the second one wasn't that the gun one,
Uh, well,
or
no,
was
I
that
think
like
there
the
was a
third?
direct sequel, like the second season. Then I think they did Sword Art
Hmm.
Online 2, which I think was the gun one. But
Okay, so I think I watched everything up until the gun one.
I think at one point in the regular timeline, they got wings or something. It turned into Aeon or whatever that one
Oh
MMO from a while back was.
yeah,
It was all
yeah,
about
yeah,
flight combat.
yeah, like fairies and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so they turned to that for one season, and I think they gave them a daughter. So I don't know. I lost
Yeah.
interest in it.
Mm.
Like I watched the first one, and I'm like, you know what? I feel good about this. I don't really,
Yeah.
because that is weird how there is sometimes you get into a first season of a show, and then
Hmm.
like you enjoyed it, you liked it. Then you see the second
Hmm.
one's coming out, or you see that it came out, and like I don't care. And I'll tell you the
Yeah.
saddest one I feel about that right now. I don't know if you watched it, more of it.
Mm.
I'm so disappointed in myself.
Yeah.
Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Uh, uh, See, I've only watched a little bit of the second season at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like because my anime watching has not been what it was. Like I
Right.
haven't
Right.
like I we need to jump on some more stuff, admittedly, but like we're on like a whole bunch of other shows and movies and stuff like that.
Right. And of course that factors in too in time. But like right now,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
trying honestly this podcast because this is definitely something I want to
Mhm.
discuss, even if
Yeah.
it's only one sided. Uh, I'm trying to watch some more anime, get back into that, and
Oh
like
yeah.
that. And now that I say it too, maybe a bigger disappointment because I started it,
Hmm.
but I've been every episode. I'm like, this of is ReZero, which you and me,
Oh.
we dug so deep into that one, and
Oh, I know the.
I'm
Uh
having
huh.
so much trouble staying interested in the second season.
Yeah.
It hurts because I man,
Man.
like I felt like many people out there, I fell in love with Rem and just the
Hmm.
world and Subaru's suffering and everything. And it's like I don't know, the second season is just yeah, it's just not doing it as much for me this time. Maybe because
Yeah.
spoilers, if you haven't got into it, they put Rem in a fucking coma in the first episode. So you know what?
Ah, boo.
But
Well, I think it also goes to say that like they almost lose their I don't know, like the flair to it whenever they become like stronger and more used to the world, because you don't have like the newness of like them first getting to the fantasy world and gaining
Right.
abilities and learning about the world. Instead, it's just like, it's almost just like it's just always been a fantasy world by the time you get to like that second or third season.
That is fair. That's
Yeah.
very fair because Subaru's much more used to the world and like he's
Hmm.
I think he's reset it a couple times in the first few
Hmm.
episodes, but like it's not near what because the first one was. I mean, to it, some people didn't like it because it was just that first season was like I'm hesitant to use the word torture porn, but like man,
Yeah.
Subaru went out like a champ many
Yeah.
times,
Yeah. No, it was
learning the
so
ins and
dark, and
outs.
each time was so freaking brutal.
And thus far, it really hasn't been that, and it may get back to that. I don't know,
Hmm.
but as things progress, they change, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to say. Like sometimes it kind of evolves out of your interest.
Hmm.
But that's enough
Hmm.
about that one. I got there's still been a few more shows I want to talk. But yeah, but no, I stand on a million lives. It's been a very interesting isekai already. It's like 3 episodes in. And most of these are only about
Right.
3 in. Then there's
Yeah.
one. I believe you said you at least watched one episode. Jujutsu Kaisen
Oh, I've watched the first. How many is out for that
should be
one?
three.
Is it? I've watched the first two, but I mean, I've read a lot of the manga.
Right. I queued up the
Um,
manga too in case it finally hits that point where I'm like, all right, I'm tired of waiting a week.
yeah, yeah,
But that one's been a lot of fun. Uh,
man,
like
yeah.
like the concept of I can't think of any of the characters' names right now, but it's him eating that finger and then getting powered up into a world of the phantom, the people that fight the phantoms and stuff. Has been is
Yeah.
really cool concept, really good, interesting start for a nice shonen jump. What I'm really liking though is the atmosphere of the anime. How like they'll have
Hmm.
like talking about serious shit, but like goofy shit will be happening in the background.
Hmm.
You should have saw the episode where he went against the gym coach in the track and field thing, and he like chunked that ball super far.
Right.
And then in the
Yeah.
background, he's just stunned while they're talking about his power levels, and people are stacking shit on him, and like
Yeah.
and like the characters are very likable, and it just introduced.
Hmm.
And she even called herself like I'm the girl for your group, like it's
Hmm.
kind of
Hmm.
self-aware humor that I'm really digging about it. Plus, like the monster designs are cool. Hero looks
Hmm.
cool. It's got like an interesting setup to the story of him like getting possessed by these demon fingers. He has to eat more and more of. They kind of has to
Yeah.
fight control for. So that's
Yeah.
been one I've.
It's it
Yeah. Go ahead.
it's definitely a really interesting concept that I kind of dig. In a way, it's almost because Japan is on like a huge supernatural kick. Maybe they've always been on one, and I just never noticed until now.
No, there's been at least in the like our Viz app, I'm sure is where it's really been noticeable on the Shonen Jump
Yeah,
publications. No, like
yeah,
they've always been there, but there's just been a wave where that's like consecutively like 4 or 5 new series started that all are around that.
yeah. But it's like, I don't know. I guess since they're in high school and stuff, is kind of giving me like real Yu Yu Hakusho type vibes.
We don't talk about Yu Yu
Without
Hakusho on this show.
but and one of the things that I really like about the anime that like kind of always sort of messed me up whenever I first started reading the manga is like the main two or the two first characters that they
Yeah,
really show, Itadori and I think it was Guro, the
that's
guy that has like the shadow spirits or whatever.
yeah, that
So
sounds
cool.
right.
Like I was getting them mixed up a lot whenever it first started,
Oh,
just because you can't tell like really hair colors
yeah, they
in
got
manga.
similar looks. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So like occasionally I'd be like, "Oh, who the fuck are we following right now?" And then yeah, just the how interesting it is that the whole like synopsis of it is they want Itadori, since he can control Sukuna, the big demon that all these other demons are like kind of drawn to. So he eats this finger to gain abilities, but he has to fight the will of Sukuna back.
Right,
And
right.
their whole thing is like, okay, since you can control it, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have you eat all 20 of these fingers so we can defeat this curse, because this is like He was dubbed the King of Curses whenever Sukuna was still around. Um, and just the thought of like him like just fucking swallowing this finger is just it's so gross.
Oh yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
and like like, even show like the first time he did it, he just swallowed it like all right, but they were in a desperate situation,
Hmm.
and he had they had kind of just offhandedly told him, yeah, they want these fingers to eat them to gain power, and he's like,
Hmm.
so I'll get stronger. But then like the second finger they get to, he's like, oh, it's so gross. Like like when you have time to think about it, like, whoa, that's actually pretty disgusting,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
great.
It's
But
like, how do you even digest that?
but yeah, it's been a lot of fun already. 3 episodes in for me, and like I said, I got the manga queued up on the Viz app too. So eventually, I'll probably just start
Yeah.
reading it. Uh,
Dude, there are characters and abilities I cannot wait for you to see.
nice,
Like, for
yeah.
real.
So yeah, definitely interested in doing that one. That and the whole him getting his test to get into the school was not only answering questions but to fight a giant plush kappa dog. Like it had a dog face, but it clearly had the
Hmm.
Kappa hair and bowl. So I'm like,
Right.
I really like this principal. So he's a good guy
Hmm.
because he makes killer dolls that are Kappa puppies, and there's nothing wrong with a Kappa puppy. But another one I'm liking, and this one's
Yeah.
I don't know if you do this genre very much, the kind of romantic comedy ones. This is one I'm watching on my own, but eventually I'm going to sit down and let the wife watch it too because I think she'll dig it.
Hmm.
It's called Tonakawa Over the Moon for You, and it's a
Ooh.
Crunchyroll produced show. Like they've gotten
Oh.
into producing their own shows, like God of High School, Tower of God, and one I'll be talking about here in a little bit after this one.
Mm.
Because those were all manhwa. I believe this one is a straight up manga. But
Hmm.
tell me if you've heard this love story before.
Okay.
Boy is super smart. Parents kind of groomed to that by naming him NASA, like the space program.
Right.
uh, is like just so overthinks all that kind of stuff. Walking down the street at night, sees a girl across the road on the other side, and is like, "Oh my gosh, she's super cute. I should go talk to her." And then what you think is going to be Truck Coon coming barreling down over him. It's not an isekai though, but hit by truck, wakes up in puddle of blood all around him on the floor with the said cute girl above him bleeding from the head, or she apparently dove in to try to save him. Refused to go to hospital. Confesses he likes her a lot, and she says she'll only date him if he'll marry her. And then they get married that night.
Uh, oh, okay. I guess stranger things have happened.
Like not immediately, but like there's a lot of like kind of them talking a little bit. But yeah, it's basically like I'm like he's clearly concussed. Like he got hit by a truck, and but he's like
Yeah.
I think I love you, and she's like, well, we can only be together if you'll marry me. And like he's like, sure, and like she's like, I'll be right back, and she comes back, and they go to an overnight thing. She has permission because like they're both in like junior high. Like I think he's 18, she's 16. And like so, like they're like, well, you're underage, you have to get parents. So here you go. Had their stamps, their signatures. They get married, and then she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna see you later, basically. And then like he finally goes to the hospital, recovers, working the job, and like trying to like he's like, did I dream this girl? Is this even real? Then she shows up at his house, like, hey, all right, hey, you're my husband. Let's move in together. And
What the hell?
it's like I'm like obviously I'm not overly selling it, but it's like a very weird setup to what's actually become a very cute romance because like think about like they acknowledge that they're husband and wife, but and he's like no very like introverted, really smart, hardworking guy, but this is like
Mm.
the first girl he's ever really talked to. And so, but like, so he tends to kind of like blurt out things at times. He's like, "Wait a minute, she's my wife," and you can think where everyone else is thinking right now. I'm sure all of you are thinking it. That means I have unlimited hand holding privileges. And he thinks he said it in his mind, and she's giving him a look. He's like, "What?" And she's like, "You just said that out loud." Like, oh, but then it's like, "But I am your wife." That means it is unlimited. And she holds her hand out for him, and it's adorable.
It's too pure.
It's very weird. It's very like I said, it's very strange, and them kind of getting to know each other, and just like obviously he's a man with a woman in his in his home, so the thoughts are there, but they're not. They don't even know each other. Like he didn't even get her name until she came
Mhm.
back that later time.
Mhm.
It's a and like we're slowly getting more about her past. We're learning more and more. So it's like I feel like it's gonna probably go a little deeper into like why she just wanted to get married super quick. And it's real. I don't. It doesn't feel like a using kind of thing. I don't think it's gonna get any dark turns. But it's kind of
Right.
it's a different romantic story because usually in you know and I love some good harem comedies. I love the good romantic comedies. And Japan tends to love their will they won't they stories.
Uh-huh.
And it's so to me it's a little refreshing to kind of like, yeah, we're together, we're a thing. I mean, we're not they're not making out and doing the deed on night one because they're married, but it's still getting to know each other. But it is that they are married. So I don't know. To me, it's a very it's kind of a different premise from the usual romantic comedies you usually see in anime.
Yeah, it's interesting because for stuff like that, you're just kind of like, especially with how it started. I know I'm usually just like waiting for the the what the hat to drop or whatever,
Right,
to
right.
see like what exactly is going on
Oh,
here.
I was waiting like because at first he only met her at night, so I was expecting a vampire twist or some shit. I'm waiting for some
Mm-hmm.
tragedy to happen because you know how we do when we go into
Mm.
a show. I'm like, hey Jerry, we should watch this show. It's about a manga creator, and it's called and it's called Erased,
Uh-huh,
and that
uh-huh.
turned into a whole
Hey,
murder mystery.
we should watch this show together. It's about this guy who has this ability where he can take over people's bodies for like half a second. Um, yeah, it's called Charlotte.
Right, right. So so you're always kind of, and the twist may still come. 3 episodes in, it's still been pretty much a romantic
Hmm.
comedy. He's got some like they have the bathhouse episode in like episode 3 because he lives very like just the bare necessities. So
Hmm.
instead of renting a bigger place that has a bath, he goes to a bathhouse. So of
Hmm.
course that turns into wild antics because one of the girls like if anyone's going to watch it, not going to give away is just she's funny as shit. It's a generally funny character thrown in there, plus a possible third. You got to get that the love triangle issue going on. But no, it's really cute, really good. If you like that kind of stuff, to the
Hmm.
listeners out there, or even you, Jerry, maybe you and Steph might dig it. Maybe
Yeah,
one to check out as well. I'm enjoying it right, for now. And
yeah, yeah. It sounds interesting. I don't
right,
know if it was something that I would stick to, but
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Hey, give it a couple episodes, see what you think, maybe.
Mhm.
And the last new one that's been going on is the newest manhwa, which for those who don't know, that's Korean manga, for lack of a better term. They have their own thing. They're Korean comics, are called manhwa, off of a site called Webtoon. Where like I know that Jerry, you were reading Tower of God, or was it God of High
Yes.
School, a long time ago. You were telling me about
I
one of
was I
them.
was reading Tower of God, and that was the one that I was really into. And then I also picked up Lore Olympus, which is about to be a movie or a show. I
Oh,
can't remember which. But yeah, God of High School was also coming from
yeah,
Webtoon.
yeah. And this one apparently like those two and Noblesse, which is the newest one, are apparently the big three on Webtoon,
Hmm.
from my understanding.
Ah,
And this one is about I don't know because they're being very like we got beings with superpowers like super
uh-huh.
speed, strength. Like it opens up with a war in a small country. There's like soldiers just getting wrecked by these people who can just rip their arms off and move at the speed of light. And then we cut to a high school where a couple beings with not that we saw, not that group we saw, but other people that have unique abilities, including one who's been acknowledged as an enhanced human.
Hmm.
And then they got these other ones they call nobles, where the kind of the noblesse comes from, and they have like strong aura, magic, like not magic because at least I haven't seen yet, but like super strong red eyes and like it's still kind of building and all that. And right now, it's just been kind of introducing them into this school scenario because one of the main character is posing as a student there, and the principal is basically his butler, his right hand man. And so then now we just got a couple of transfer students who are also that level, and the enhanced human is a security guard there. And we got regular students too who kind of get into trouble, and they've had to kind of save them. And right now it's been 3 episodes of just kind of getting everyone's characters together.
Hmm.
So like I'm not sold on it, but it's interesting.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's like I'm
Yeah.
still curious, but I'm not like this is could be one if I cut time, I might have to cut it if it doesn't like really start throwing me like hooking me. Like it's still interesting and it's still making me
Hmm.
I got like four new shows and I got some old ones I want to kind of go back and watch more
And get
of.
caught up on.
But like
Yeah.
those have been like the four because there was another one that started like I watched the first episode. I try to watch the first episode of every new show, and they had
Hmm.
as Japan loves to do, they make an anime about everything. Rock climbing,
Hmm.
um, rock climbing it's pure etchy. It's just rock climbing, cleavage shots, and booty shots. As these girls are climbing up rocks, and like well drawn and like they had a sorry.
No, you're fine.
Uh,
You gotta have your one like kind of like fan servicey show in there.
I mean, and I don't know, Jerry. I think you're a little shy about acknowledging your love of the fan service. I am not. Uh,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
watched mediocre shows that just had a lot of good plot, and I'm like, you know
Right,
what?
right,
I could
right.
get behind the
Where
show.
he's if you can't catch it, he's saying that with quotations.
Plot, huge tracts of land, as you Monty Python fans will know. And because sometimes they're just fun, But like this one,
Hmm.
with my limited time, I just ain't got time for to watch it just for the plot and the fan service. But hey, if you like rock climbing and gyms and stuff, there's an anime out there for you. but uh, but yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
One thing I was gonna notice. Well, so whenever you were talking about Noblesse,
Hmm.
I thought that sounded really familiar. Like, and I thought that I'd heard it like a while back.
Right,
And it actually what was it, the manga had been going, or the manhwa has been going since 2007.
right.
They have, I don't know if they tried to do or anything, but they had a animation and an ONA animation in 2015, but it was just like 37-minute like episode or something like that at a
Oh,
film festival. And then in 2016 they had an original net animation, and it was released on Crunchyroll and YouTube back in 2016. It was only 31 minutes. So I guess this is like their first like since Webtoons is like really like in line with Crunchyroll now. They're like fuck it, let's finally do an anime based off of this series.
right. Yeah,
So yeah.
so Crunchyroll partnered with them to do God of High School
Hmm.
and Tower of God. And yeah, I kind of figured this one had probably been going because just the
Hmm.
articles I read about it just happened to just kind of seeing it said like it was part of the big three for Korean manhwa. So
Hmm.
so it's got a lot. I know if it's been going, I think it's still going too. So there's
Oh
a lot
yeah.
more to it, which is kind of keeping me interested. But for
Hmm.
now, like I said, there's been some cool, some action sequences as well as just some good funny moments because it got these nobles are kind of fish out of water type people. So
Hmm.
we'll see. Well, I'll see. Out of all of them I'm watching right now, that one has the highest potential to get dropped for time. But
Oh yeah,
but it's still one I would definitely recommend. There've been a few others
yeah.
that came out this season too that I'm just not really just didn't catch my eye, and obviously I've already
Hmm.
forgotten. But the new seasons are always fun because you never know. You keep your eye out for some of the ones you've been watching, that you can
Right.
continue. But always love finding new anime. You know,
Yeah. I just can't believe that with your love of Final Fantasy, you're not watching the new Dragon Quest.
you know. Look here, when back in my day, Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest were two different companies, and they were enemies. And I will never support Dragon Quest. No, I don't know. Like Dragon Quest, I've tried to get into the series, like the
Yeah.
video games. Just never stuck with me for very long. I did watch the CG movie that was on Netflix.
Oh man, that was so good,
That
wasn't it?
that was really good.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I started this anime. I did watch the first episode. I'm
Yeah.
like, nah, I'm good.
Right.
Like it
Right.
just wasn't really doing it
Go.
for me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel you. You're very. It's very hit or miss on stuff like that, and like I kind of feel the same. Anything that you get into that it's like about a video game, it's
Right.
kind of like you got to have some kind of common knowledge of the video game series or something like that, or it's like, it's mostly just like fan service for the fans of those games a lot of the times.
And typically, yeah, you're right. Anime
Hmm.
adaptations of video games are typically made for the people who are fans of the games. And I
Hmm.
know a little bit of the history, the lore. Like with the CG movie, I kind of understood where it fell in with certain
Hmm.
it was based on some of the earlier games, and I
Hmm.
kind of got that, and I understood with that. But like I don't know, just it wasn't one that the new anime. I'm sure Dragon Quest fans are probably because like it looked well
Hmm.
animated, and like there was a lot of references. I think to some of the older games I really didn't catch.
Hmm.
So it didn't draw me in, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's just
Yeah.
does not like right now I can spare about an hour and a half, 2 hours for anime once a week
Hmm.
because
Right.
this is October, and Lord, if anybody here listening is
Oh,
on my Facebook, I'm doing my horror movies and doing
this episode will probably be released in October.
maybe as of time of recording.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It is October, and I am doing. For those who don't know, I guess we can talk about this a little bit. I every for the last shit 8 years, I once ever since I got Netflix, which may be longer than 8 years ago. I
Hmm.
decided to stop marathoning movies that I knew and start going down these horror lists and watching the first movie I'd never seen before. New, old, good, bad review, doesn't matter. If I hadn't watched it, every day I'd watch a new horror film. And it's continued on. And now it's expanded to where I'm going to Amazon Prime. I'm literally going to a different streaming service every day to really mix it up. So it's been good. Overall, like I'm. Is it wrong to say? Because you've sat in on a few of these movies, good and bad,
Hmm.
with me.
Oh, dude, I totally had the Frankenstein's Army pop up in my memories
Oh,
yesterday.
that was so good. That was a good one,
Yeah,
especially for a
yeah,
found footage movie, which I normally don't like.
I know.
That one was actually really good. If y'all haven't seen it, listen to this. Frankenstein's Army was a very good found footage Nazi monster film.
Hmm.
That one was a good one. And like this season, don't get it wrong. I call it this season, this year. Definitely more good than bad. And is it bad that it kind of disappoints me? Like I don't.
Are you like it's never gonna get better than
Well, it's like it's not gonna. It's a lot more. You appreciate the gems
this? Hmm.
when you gotta sift through a bunch of shit to get to
Right.
the gem in the cow poop, for lack of
Yeah.
a better analogy. Uh, and like this one because I mean, don't get me wrong. I've still watched some garbage this year already,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
like there's just been a lot more better ones because I think I'm mixing
Yeah.
it up. But I don't know. I just don't want to just only stick with Netflix, only stick with Hulu or something. For
Hmm.
example, I have all those other ones because I'm a moron and I pay for all these different streaming services. uh,
No, same though.
I have access to it, so let's make the most use out of it, so I can recommend some movies for people. But
Bro, I saw you watch Color Out of Space last week.
yeah,
Yeah,
dude, that movie was awesome.
I know.
That movie was
Uh,
amazing. And you know what? Oh,
I'm,
wait, we're going to talk about some Nick Cage here for a second here
oh,
because
I know, right?
Nick Cage's brand of Nick Cage crazy doesn't always
Yeah,
work for me. I think
right.
especially like I was talking about this recently, how he's
Hmm.
actually a really good actor who just takes I think shit roles because he can have fun with them. Because
Hmm.
cause
Yep, yep.
I hate this. I'm gonna bring it up, brother, and I'm sorry because I know you were super
Hmm.
excited to show me this movie.
Oh, I know what you're gonna bring up.
Mandy was not good.
Yeah. Uh,
Mandy was not a good, not even a good pulp campy wannabe Evil Dead. Let's have Nick Cage go crazy. It felt so forced. It felt like
well, as Craig says, we're all entitled to our opinions, even how, no matter how wrong they are.
look. I don't know who this Craig guy is. You keep referencing and I keep referencing. Maybe y'all find out in a future episode. Bruh, I don't know. Like that one didn't work for me. It felt very
Hmm.
forced with its campiness and
Yeah,
like we're gonna make a cult classic kind of feel to it.
yeah.
For me, you know me. I'm admittedly, especially horror movie. I'm a snob.
Hmm.
I'm very
They,
particular.
yeah, they did try to push the artistry of it a little much with like kind of the slow like, you know build-ups and like just long shots of like certain things that were over focused and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And when you're trying to make Evil Dead the fireman story,
Hmm.
that doesn't work for me. Like, if you just want to go, if you're gonna go balls insane, just go balls insane. Don't try to be like
Hmm.
artsy shots and different stuff, and then have him miraculously blacksmith up an axe sword, which led to the only interesting part I can remember in that film was the giant chainsaw battle. but
Oh my god, it's so
like,
great.
I don't know, it didn't work for me. But the color out of space, that was Nick Cage chewing scenery that worked. That was
Yeah,
appropriate because
right.
it's I didn't know this when I watched it. It was an
Hmm.
H.P. Lovecraft story.
Yep.
Which, if you know anything about H.P. Lovecraft, besides tons of racism, he wrote poems and stories about madness, and that's exactly
Mm.
what The Color Out of Space was. And honestly, I'm glad you brought that up because that has been probably the best movie I've watched this year so far.
Yeah, yeah. The
And
the
like,
visuals
or this
alone can
this
like,
month, I'm gonna say I watched some great movies this year, but like out of this marathon, yeah, Color Out of Space is fantastic. It has a nice slow burn in the beginning, but the
mm,
madness kicks in pretty quick, and the
yeah,
fucked up imagery and Nick Cage. Although I will say, like, there were times I don't know if it was intentional because I'm not we don't try to bring up politics, but there was times when he was still kind of in his normal dad mode.
yeah.
It sounded like he was doing a Trump impression.
It did a little bit, didn't it? I didn't really think about that until
he
you started
he
mentioning
kind
it.
of is like, you guys, you have to, we have to go. Like I can't do a Trump impression very well at all. But like, I don't know. I listened, was like, is that on purpose? Is he
Yeah.
trying to say something? But that's it. But I just happened to notice. I don't know if anyone else did. I don't think I even mentioned it in my review on Facebook, but it was. But it's an excellent film. And then
Yeah.
Nick Cage goes from kind of like still chewing some scenery. It's not his best work, but like goes into the Nick Cage we all meme about and
Yeah.
love as it should as the insanity grows within that movie. So
Man, I don't want to like extend us too long over with this
no,
talk
you're
of
fine.
yeah, but like I think just recently, like last year or so, I probably watched like what should be one of my favorite Nick Cage movies, just because
Oh,
he went real Nick Cage in that movie. Parents, have you seen
I
Parents?
have not watched Parents.
Oh man, I
Okay.
know we can't. I know we can't recommend you movies this month, but damn it, I
Well,
hope Parent pops up on your
is
list.
it a horror film?
Yes.
Okay. So if
Yeah.
what streaming service, if it wasn't a nefarious site,
Jesus.
did you watch it
I
on?
I honestly think it. We watched it. We might have watched it on Netflix.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, it might pop up, or I don't do recommendations just because I think we discussed it here. Like every
Yeah.
year, I'm like, this is completely random. I'm gonna choose it blind. So and so, insert so and so. You should watch this
Right.
one in your random horror. Like that's the exact opposite of random. But noted. I will if I see it and it comes up on the list as it do, I will definitely watch it. And hell, I do bonus reviews sometimes even during this time of the
Yeah.
year. If I got some time, I might just pop it on and say, "Hey, look, if you want to know why I'm watching this movie, you should tune into the Yokai Delinquents podcast." Got to sell
it.
it. Got to sell.
I'm right. I might have been wrong on that because whenever I looked it up, it popped up as Mom and Dad
Oh,
in
okay.
2008. So it might be that
Might be
instead
called
of
Mom and Dad.
Parents.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. I'm sure,
Yeah, but that's on Prime.
but it better be better than Mandy. But
Oh, it'll at least be that.
to be fair, like honestly, I've been hearing about Mandy well before you showed it. A lot of people liked it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
not everything's gonna click with everybody. That's okay as
yeah,
long as I agree with it. No,
yeah.
because if I don't agree with it, then obviously it's wrong. I mean, it's just written in stone at this point.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Opinions are like assholes, Sean.
And I tend to be one. I tend to be an opinion. Well, yeah, but so yeah, that's what's been going on. You got anything else anything you want to talk
uh,
about?
no, I think that's gonna do it for me today. Actually, I had one little add-on to your fall anime list because
Oh,
I've been watching very few. I've been needing to get back on some,
sure.
but there's something that really excited me for this. I guess yeah, I would consider it fall, even though it started back in the fucking um, like spring.
Which
So
is not
did
fall,
right? Yeah,
so it's not
no,
fall.
shut up, John. Shut up, John. Pissed me off so much I almost called you John.
Oh, John has that
Those
effect
good
on
old
people.
days. Yeah. So Digimon Adventure,
Oh,
the
okay.
new like reboot or whatever of Digimon. They originally started it, I think, back in March or so, but because of COVID, they only made it to I think 3 episodes, and then they had to put it on hiatus.
Oh,
So
wow.
it is like currently airing right now, and it's been like one of the series that I've been so excited to watch every Sunday morning whenever it comes on. And it's essentially just like kind of a retelling, like furbish remaster. I don't
Is it the original
guess.
series is kind of redone Dragon Ball like
N-
what
No,
a Dragon Ball style?
no. It's no. They changed up the story and everything.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
hmm they kind of gave us that digital world feel from the newest video games.
Hmm.
So like, there's a base like web digital world, but then there's also the actual digital world where it's like just how Earth is with nature and stuff like that. But then there's the occasional like weird like building or phone booth or something.
Right.
But they, I think in the original series, it took them like 2 or 3 seasons to get to some of their highest forms, and they did it in like 12 episodes in this one.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah. So, and the personality that they're giving some of the characters, especially some of the enemies in it, is just so good. Like, it's so much more than what it used to be, and I really like how they're doing it. And honestly, really makes me excited for the new Shaman Kings. Though I don't think Shaman Kings is essentially a reboot. I think it's going to be more of just a new animation style from the old story that they never got to finish over here.
Oh, okay. So,
Um,
so like, is Shaman King been an anime before?
Yeah, so that was part of whenever we were talking about our, Saturday morning cartoons that we
Oh,
used to watch as a kid.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, Shaman Kings was one of those that's pretty high up there with me. And like the whole synopsis of it was there were these characters in the world that were called shamans, and their whole thing is they can talk to spirits, and then they can use the spirits to fight other shamans or whatever they need to do. But it's all kind of centered around this event that happens every so like hundreds of years or whatever, where they have this big tournament, and the winner of the tournament gets like a wish granted or something like that. See, they didn't really finish it back in the day,
Right. Right.
and they didn't release all the manga over here, though they have it all on Shonen Jump now, and they're about to re-release all these animes coming.
Right.
But yeah, it's just really cool. Like the main character, Yo Asakura, gets this samurai spirit, and they his name is Amita Maru, and he's like this old like samurai spirit, and he they fight in different ways, and they like depending on how powerful they are. He can either be possessed by Minamaru, or he puts him into a weapon or something like that, and they fight together. It was a really fun one. I always talk about like that whole like companion like monster fight, or they had Metabots where you have like a partner robot that fights with
Right.
you. Like
Right.
I don't know, I'm just a real big sucker for stuff like that. But like Shaman Kings was pretty top tier
Yeah.
in my opinion back in the day.
Oh, for sure. And like that type of anime, especially, was really prevalent when you were a kid, because that
Hmm.
was the era of Digimon, Pokemon. As we talked
Monster
about again,
Rancher,
yeah,
yeah.
like we had brought it up, and I already forgot you mentioned Shaman King.
Hmm.
But yeah, I know
Yeah.
you've been excited about the reboot or remake or whatever, the new anime of it.
Yeah.
So that's very cool.
Digimon. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So that's been my main one that I've been watching here lately. Been needing to get caught up on some stuff, but that and Jujutsu Kaisen have been my staples here lately on the weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Jujutsu Kaisen has definitely been it's definitely like probably the top right now for me. Although, like I said,
Hmm.
this I Stand on a Million Lives is really going up there already within 3 episodes.
Hmm.
And like I said, yeah, the Tonakawa, the love story one is it's a cute little like easy to watch. No one you ain't got to worry about a big world and all the
Hmm.
venture. Just it's a nice little love story. Some people can get behind that,
Yeah.
and if you can, I'd recommend that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's gonna do it for today, though, sir.
Oh, yeah. Good talks. I got a lot out there. Nice little break from the week, you know.
Yeah. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed listening to us ramble on about our loves, our passions, our nerdinessnesses, and if you liked what
Fuck,
you,
I'm sorry.
oh, go ahead.
Stop, hold everything.
Uh
I forgot to mention there was one more. There's one more in there
oh.
that I've been enjoyed and watching. Burn the Witch.
Burn the Witch. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
forgot I started that one. Then I stopped it.
Yeah. Yeah. I started the manga, and then I was like, oh, it's about to get an anime right now. So Steph and I have been watching it, and we've been enjoying it.
Oh,
It's
good. I'm
been
glad.
pretty good.
For those who don't know, Burn the Witch
Yeah.
is the newest manga now anime from the creator of Bleach, Tite Kubo. Uh,
Hmm.
and I read it was a short run. It was a four, like double sized, like normal 19, 20 chapter pages per chapter. These were longer,
Hmm.
but it was only four. And I read it and I enjoyed it. But then I watched the anime,
Hmm.
and for me, it was just kind of like, well, I've kind of already just literally read this. Like they came
Right.
out like almost simultaneously. Like they, at least on
Yeah.
the RViz app, I don't know if how up to date it is. Like if they ever delay stuff, but like they released those chapters right before this anime started. So I'm
Hmm.
not really like I watched the first episode. I'm like, wow, this is great animation. And if anyone hadn't read it, they're gonna love this. Especially if you're a Bleach
Hmm.
fan, it's gonna feel right back to his cool characters and the style and all that stuff is all up in there. But for me, it just like I just read it and it was a good story. It didn't blow me away enough right now to want to
Hmm.
go back through it even animated right now. But I still recommend
Right.
anyone checking it out though for sure.
Right. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, I think I am officially like that's it.
Can I end it now? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
Positive. If you like this episode and want to keep supporting us, please like, comment if you haven't already subscribed, and share the videos to all your friends. Tell them, hey, look, we got some entertainment for an hour or so for you to listen to, and we thank every one of you for tuning in. And yeah,
Yeah, and if you have any anime that you're watching this season that we did not mention and you think that we are horrible people because we're not watching these, please let us know.
absolutely. Let us know down in the comments, and yeah, we'll catch y'all later.
All right, yeah. Peace.